A branch is not a copy of your project. It is not a folder, not a duplicate of your files, and not a separate container that your work gets placed inside. A branch is a name that points at a single commit. That's the definition. And once it's in place, nearly everything else about branching stops being mysterious. Start with the object the branch points at. A commit in Git is a snapshot of the full project tree, plus metadata, author, committer, message timestamp, and the identifier of its parent commit or commits. Because each commit records its parents, commits form a directed acyclic graph. The graph is the history. Every commit knows what came before it, and no commit knows what comes after it. A branch sits on top of that graph as a movable label. The label holds one commit identifier. When you make a new commit, while that branch is current, Git writes the new commit, sets its parent to the commit the branch was pointing at, and then moves the label forward to the new commit. The graph grew, the label slid. You can verify this on disk. In a repository using the traditional files backend, branch references live under the directory. Git refs heads. Each branch is one plain text file whose name is the branch name, and whose contents are a commit identifier followed by a new line. In a SHA-1 repository, that file is 41 bytes, 40 hexadecimal characters, and the new line. In a SHA-256 repository, it is 65 bytes. Creating a branch writes one of those files. Deleting a branch removes it. That size figure is the point of the whole design. Branch creation in Git is a constant time write of a few dozen bytes, regardless of whether the project holds 10 files or 10 million. There is no copy, no server round trip, and no allocation proportional to project size. This is worth contrasting with what came before, because the contrast explains why development practice changed. In CVS, a branch was a property applied across individual file revisions, and branching a project meant tagging every file. In Subversion, a branch is a directory copy inside the repository namespace. Subversion implements that as a cheap copy, so the server side is efficient, but the branch still occupies a real path in the tree. And switching or comparing requires talking to the server. More importantly, Subversion had no record of which changes had already been merged between lines of development until version 1.5 arrived in 2008 and introduced merge tracking through the SVN merge info property. Before that, merging back meant tracking revision ranges by hand. When a branch costs a server round trip and a manual merge leisure, teams create few of them and keep them alive for a long time. When a branch costs 41 bytes and a local pointer write, teams create one per task and delete it the same day. The data structure shaped the workflow. Hold that model in place. A commit graph that only grows, and a set of cheap labels that move across it. There is a second pointer, and confusion about branching almost always traces back to it. That pointer is head, and it answers a different question. A branch label answers where does this line of work currently end. Head answers which line of work am I on right now. Head is a symbolic reference. Its file contains the text refs head main, naming a branch rather than a commit. That indirection is what makes commits work. When you commit, Git follows head to find the current branch, follows the branch to find the parent commit, writes the new commit, and updates the branch reference. Head itself does not change. It keeps naming the same branch, and the branch moves underneath it. Switching branches reverses the operation. Git switch feature rewrites head to name ref head's feature, then updates the index in the working tree so the files on disk match the tree recorded in that branch's commit. Files identical between two commits are left untouched. Only the differences are written. This is why switching branches in a large repository is fast. The work is proportional to the difference between the two snapshots, not to the size of the project. Git will refuse to switch if the operation would destroy uncommitted local changes. It does not require a clean working tree in general. It requires that switching not lose anything. If your modifications do not overlap with the differences between the branches, the switch proceeds and carries them across. Now the detached state. If you switch directly to a commit rather than to a branch, head stops being symbolic and holds a raw commit identifier instead. That is a detached head. Everything still works. You can inspect, build, test, and commit. What you lose is the label. New commits made in that state are recorded in the graph, but nothing names them. So switching away leaves them reachable only through the ref log. The fix is to give them a name before you leave, which is what get switch C does from a detached position. A note on command because the guidance here has changed. Get switch and get restore arrived in Get 2.23 in 2019 and carried an experimental label for 6 years. That label was removed in Get 2.51 in 2025, so their interfaces are now considered stable. Git checkout has not been deprecated. The Git project's own breaking changes document list checkout under features that have a newer replacement and will nonetheless be kept on the grounds that its use remains widespread. Use switch and restore because they separate two unrelated jobs. Do not expect checkout to disappear. Two branches diverge when commits are added to each of them after they last shared a tip. Both still reach back to a common ancestor. Finding that ancestor is the first step of every integration operation Git performs, and the command that exposes it is get merge base. The merge base is the best common ancestor of the two commits. It gives Git a reference point. With the base, the branch you're on, and the branch you're merging, Git has 3 trees and can reason about change as a difference from a shared starting state rather than as two unrelated files. Before doing any of that work, Git checks a shortcut. If the merge base is the same commit your current branch points at, then your branch has no commits the other branch lacks. Nothing needs reconciling. Git simply slides your branch label forward to the other branch's commit. This is a fast forward, and the terminal reports it as fast forward with no merge commit created. The history stays linear because nothing diverged. When both sides have moved, Git performs a 3-way merge. It compares the base to each side, combines the changes, and records the result as a new commit with 2 parents. That commit is the only kind of commit in Git with more than one parent, and it's what preserves the shape of the divergence in the graph. A conflict is a specific condition, not a general failure. It occurs when both sides change the same region relative to the base, and Git has no rule for choosing. Git writes both versions into the file with markers, leaves the path unmerged in the index, and stops. Resolution is a human decision recorded as a normal edit and commit. The algorithm doing this work has a name. Since Get 2.34, the default 2-head merge strategy has been ORT, a rewrite of the older recursive strategy, with the better rename handling and substantially better performance on large histories. As of Get 2.50, asking for recursive by name simply gives you ORT. 2 options change the shape of the result deliberately. --inno-ff forces a merge commit even when a fast forward was possible, which leaves a permanent marker in the graph showing when a branch was integrated. Squash collapses every commit on the branch into one stage change that you commit yourself, producing a single commit with one parent and no record of the branch. Rebase is a different option entirely. It does not merge. It takes the commits unique to your branch, replays each one on top of a new base, and moves your branch label to the end of the replayed sequence. The replayed commits are new objects with new identifiers, because the commit identifier is a hash over content including the parents. The original commits still exist until garbage collection removes them, but your branch no longer references them. That's why rebasing a branch other people have already pulled causes trouble, and why the rule is to rebase private work and merge shared work. In a distributed system, the word branch covers 3 distinct things, and separating them removes a large category of confusion. The first is a local branch, stored under refs heads. You control it, commits move it. The second is a remote tracking branch, stored under refs remotes, with names like origin main. This is a local read-only record of where a branch stood on the remove the last time you communicated with it. You never commit to it. Git updates it during fetch. It is a cached observation, not a live connection. The third is the branch that exists in the remote repository. You cannot see it directly. You can only see your last recorded observation of it. The link between the first and the second is the upstream configuration, stored in the repository config as branch name remote and branch name merge. That pairing is what allows bear get push and get pull to work without arguments, and it is what produces the ahead and behind counts in Git status. Those counts are a graph computation. Ahead is the number of commits reachable from your branch, but not from its upstream. Behind is the reverse. Get rev list, left-right count, prints both directly. And understanding that they're derived from the graph rather than stored anywhere explains why they only refresh after a fetch. The distinction between fetch and pull follows from this. Get fetch downloads new objects and moves your remote tracking references. It does not touch your local branches or your working tree. Nothing you have can be disturbed by a fetch. Get pull runs a fetch and then immediately integrates the result into your current branch, by merge or by rebase, depending on configuration. Fetching is observation. Pulling is observation plus a change to your work. Pushing is a request to move a pointer on the remote. The remote accepts it when the move is a fast forward, meaning your commit has the remote's current commit as an ancestor, and nothing would be lost. It rejects the push otherwise, which is what the non-fast forward error means. Your branch and the remote branch have diverged. Force overrides that check unconditionally and can discard commits pushed by someone else in the interval. Force with lease overrides it only if the remote still points where you last observed, which turns a blind overwrite into a checked one. Deleting a branch removes the label. It does not remove commits. This follows directly from the model. The label was one small file holding one identifier, and removing it leaves the graph untouched. What changes is reachability. A commit is reachable if some reference leads to it. Delete the only reference that led to a set of commits, and they become unreachable. They still exist as objects on disk. They're simply unnamed. Git guards against doing this by accident. Get branch D refuses to delete a branch whose commits are not already merged into your current branch, and prints the exact instruction to override. Get branch uppercase D deletes unconditionally. The lowercase form is a safety check, and it's worth using by default so the uppercase form stays a deliberate act. When something is deleted anyway, the ref log is the recovery path. The ref log is a local log of every position each reference is held, including head. It records branch switches, commits, merges, rebases, and resets with the previous and new identifiers. Reading the ref log gives you the commit identifier that the deleted branch pointed at, and creating a branch at that identifier restores it exactly. Nothing about the commits changed while they were unnamed. Unreachable objects are not permanent. Garbage collection removes them once they're past the expiry window, which by default is 30 days for unreachable objects and 90 days for ref log entries. Recovery is reliable, but it is bounded. One more feature to mention here because it removes a common reason to avoid branching. A repository normally has one working tree, so being on a branch means not being on another. Get work tree add creates an additional working directory attached to the same repository with its own head checked out to a different branch. The object database is shared, so this costs a checkout rather than a clone. It's the clean answer to needing a fix on one branch, while a long build or test run occupies another. Git refuses to check out the same branch in two work trees at once, which prevents the two from fighting over one label. The mechanics are settled. The strategy question is where teams differ, and the useful framing is not which named model to adopt, but how long a branch stays alive. 3 named models cover the field. Git Flow, published by Vincent Dreesen in 2010, uses long-lived master and develop branches with supporting feature, release, and hotfix branches. GitHub Flow keeps one permanent branch and short feature branches that merge back through review. Trunk-based development keeps one shared branch and merges work into it at least daily, with branches measured in hours. The author of Git Flow added a note to that original article in 2020, stating that the model was designed for software with multiple versions running in the field, not for continuously delivered web applications, and recommending a simpler workflow such as GitHub Flow for teams doing continuous delivery. That is the model's author narrowing the scope of the model himself, and it's the clearest available answer to whether Git Flow is a default. The DORA Research Program's guidance on trunk-based development identifies 3 practices associated with higher software delivery performance, drawn from its 2016 and 2017 data, keeping 3 or fewer active branches in a repository, merging branches to trunk at least once a day, and avoiding code freezes and separate integration phases. The variable underneath all 3 is branch lifetime. Long-lived branches accumulate divergence, and the cost of integration rises with the amount of divergence, not with the number of branches. Short branches raise an obvious objection. Unfinished work reaching the shared branch. The standard answer is to separate deployment from release. Merge incomplete work behind a feature flag so it ships disabled, and enable it when it's ready. That moves the release decision out of version control and into configuration, which is where it can be reversed without a revert. On the enforcement side, branch protection rules make required checks and reviews a condition of moving the protected pointer, and merge queues retest each change against the current tip before integrating it, which closes the gap where two independently green changes conflict once combined. Two defaults are changing. The Git project's breaking changes document states that in Git 3.0 new repositories will use main as the default branch name rather than master. It also states that the default reference storage format for new repositories will change from the file's backend to a ref table, a binary format that stores references and ref logs in sorted tables. Ref table removes the case sensitivity problems that loose reference files cause on Windows and Mac OS, makes multi-reference updates atomic, and avoids rewriting an entire packed file to delete one reference. No release date has been set. Both are opt-in today through the init default branch and init default ref format configuration settings. The naming conventions worth adopting are unglamorous and effective. Use a consistent prefix that encodes the type of work. Keep the identifier from your tracking system in the name. Use hyphens rather than spaces or underscores. And keep names short enough to read in a list. Then delete the branch after it merges. A repository with hundreds of stale references is not a version control problem, it's a housekeeping problem. And stale references make every listing and every search worse. The whole model reduces to one sentence. A branch is a name pointing at a commit. Head is a name pointing at a branch. And every branching operation is a controlled move of one of those pointers. If this was useful, please subscribe.